Hey everyone, my name is Isaac, and today I'm going to be teaching you an interview method that helped me get hired at Google for my first job out of college without any previous background experience in tech or business or sales. This format is called the STAR method, and that stands for situation, task, action, and result. And this was quite literally something that my Google recruiters sent to me and said, please study for your interview in this format because this is how we expect you to answer our behavioral questions. Before we get into it, the STAR method is really just trying to have you tell your interview answers like a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. You can think about it like a movie where you're the main character. For the first part of the STAR method, the S, or the situation, we want to lay out what was happening before you even arrived on the scene of a project. This might be something like the company was gearing up to launch a new product, they were struggling financially, and the manager of the team had just quit. As you can see, all of this is just the landscape of what was going on before you even arrived on the scene at all. What this does is it creates a hook to engage the interviewer and grab their attention from the beginning. What you really want to do here is sell that this is a dire situation because, like any good movie, you need the hero to solve a problem. The movie can't just start out with everything's fine and nothing went wrong and that's the end. So if I could leave you with one takeaway about the situation, it would be this phrase, raise the stakes. What that means is you want to make this be incredibly dramatic and seem like a dire situation. So now we can go on to the middle of the STAR method, the task and the action. This is how most people already answer an interview question. An interviewer might ask, tell me about a time when you showed strong organizational skills. You might then say, well, I realized my team had no systems and processes to accomplish our tasks, so I spoke to everyone on the team, interviewed them about what they want, I made a project tracker, and everyone used it. But without that setup with the situation at the beginning, you miss out on the drama of why creating this project tracker was so important in this example. For example, if you include the situation, this becomes something along the lines of, we were struggling to meet our goals. We hadn't met any of our past 3 to 4 deadlines. The boss of the company was increasingly anxious. We were potentially going to be late to launch a product. So what I did was I decided to make a project tracker. I spoke to everyone on the team about what they wanted in some kind of a tracker. And then I put it all into one spreadsheet and made something that they all used. So that is an example of a task and action with a situation setting it up in the beginning. So now we have the S, the T, and the A. Now for the last piece, the result, or the R. This is what we want to say what happens at the end of the movie. The ending where everyone's happy and the hero saves everyone. So what we want to do here is think of all the ways that things were much better after we intervened. So for example, this might be in the example we're talking about that we finished our next 5 deadlines on time. The CEO of the company praised the project tracker. Other teams started to use the tracker because it was so effective. We really just want to think of everything positive that happened after we intervened. This is kind of the scene where, again, you ride off into the sunset, everyone's happy, and it's a great result. As you can see, the S and the R are really more of the storytelling elements. The T and the A is the actual meat of the project that most people already know like the back of their hand because they did the project. The S and the R are really where you're selling it. You're selling 2 things. You're selling that it was a dire, bad situation in the beginning before you arrived on the scene, and you're selling that it was a much better situation once you left and your project was over. Now, I would say that most people do not even have the STAR method down. They have the T and the A, and they kind of naturally focus on that, and they don't really do the S and the R. However, I would say that mastering the STAR method puts you probably at least in the top 10% of interviewers if you have a truly polished version of the STAR method. Now, to really get in the top 1% or less of people interviewing, I want to add 2 more letters to the classic STAR method. I call them S and J. And really what this is it stands for skills and job. And here we want to be thinking again, why are we sitting in front of this interviewer talking to them about this project? How is it relevant for the position that I'm applying for? And with skills, we can say things like, if you're applying for a sales role and you're talking about this project tracker, you can say, well, I think, in any sales team, it's incredibly important to not just execute sales, but also to be consistently improving the process of sales and trying to add value to the team beyond what's in your job description. And so I think this really taught me the skill of adding organizational value to any team that I'm a part of. And then lastly, the J stands for job, where you literally apply everything that you said to the exact position that you're applying for. So you can do this by reading the job description of the job you're applying for, picking out things that resonate with the rest of your answer, and kind of talking about how you would be a good fit for this exact role at this company. So what I want you to do here is push yourself to literally say the name of the company you're applying for and the position you're applying for. If you can stretch yourself to say those words, it kind of forces you to bring things back to the reason that you're talking to this interviewer. So let's say I was applying to a sales role at Google. You might say that in this job description, it references that you really want somebody who is a team player, who's always innovating, and someone who is constantly adding to the team culture. Well, I think that I would be able to do this in the sales manager role at Google because I've shown that I can not only follow a process, but also try to constantly be adding things to the team that I'm on, looking for ways to make it better, and really just being a team player in that way. So what you're doing is you're taking a nugget of the job description or the actual role and applying it to saying why I told you the rest of that story. So that is a quick rundown of the STAR method and my own personal kind of other two letters at the end, S and J. If you have more questions or want to do a one-on-one session where we run through your past projects and put them into this format and I critique you on your interview skills, you can book that at the bottom. There's a link in the description to my Fiverr account, and I look forward to making the next video for you guys on interview skills. One last thing, if you have other questions about how to be better at interviews, whether it's what to ask people when they say, do you have any questions for me at the end of an interview, or whether it's how to prepare for an interview, please leave questions down below so I can make videos on that in the future. Thanks, and I'll see you guys next time.